Good morning, and welcome to You Be the Judge. I hope by now most of you have taken the time to watch Josh Fox's great movie, Gasland 2. Gasland 1 was shown to me about 2 years ago for the first time, and I couldn't believe this was going on in my neighborhood. It was a call to action to our office and to a number of lawyers who have been involved in the question as to whether this gas drilling phenomenon is the goose that laid the golden egg, or is it an egg that's going to leave us with egg on our face? My guests today are two activists who have done spectacular work on behalf of the people in Luzerne County, in the Dallas Back Mountain area, Wyoming County, Scott Cannon of the Gas Drilling Awareness Coalition, and Mary Rodriguez. I first met them when they wanted to put a compressor station right up near the Dallas High School. And I was invited down to speak to them, and they fought that and successfully fought the gas companies putting a gas station there. They made, believe it or not, the Gasland 2 as an organization that has been treated very badly by the gas companies, and its members have been slandered and frightened as a result of the bullying of the gas company. Mary, talk to me a little bit about the role that GDAC had in stopping that compressor station, and what, in fact, followed for the members of your organization.
Well, we found out through one of our members who was very active in the township, we found out that they were going to try to put two compressor stations, actually Chief and Williams, near our school complex. This is not just our high school. This is our elementary school, our middle school, and our high school. And they wanted to put it less than 1,800 feet, the two stations.
Scott, tell us a little bit about, if you would, what a compressor station is and why you folks were so concerned about its location.
Well, a compressor station is a gas processing facility that takes the gas coming from a pipeline, removes some of the impurities, vents it out into the atmosphere, and then pumps it back through the pipe to its next destination.
Mm-hmm. And Mary?
So our problem with that is you have all age groups there. You have the football field there. You have all the soccer fields there. So from what he said, vents to the outside air. So there's pipelines explosions, there's the compressor station explosions, there's pollutions, there's VOCs. The question was, do we want that near our children? And the major issue was, we're keeping it away from our children. And everyone in the township, we were very lucky. We had a lot of supporters, and everyone got together, and we started attending meetings, and we fought the compressor stations.
And was this the first major test of the Gas Drilling Awareness Coalition?
No, I don't believe it was. The sewage plant.
We had two simultaneous going on.
Oh.
The Wyoming Valley Sanitary Authority in Hanover Township wanted to put a frac water treatment center by the Susquehanna River, about an hour's drive from the nearest gas well. And that was going on at the same time that they wanted to put the compressor station at the schools.
Right.
So it's a zoning issue as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, think about this. They were going to use a sewer authority immediately adjacent to the Susquehanna River, and then the water would get into the Susquehanna River the way it did in the Monongahela and the Ohio.
The trucks would bring it in through the roads, an hour drive into across the Curiab Bridge, into the sanitary authority. They would treat the water and then remove the chemicals, take those to a landfill. The rest of the water, theoretically, if they could have done it, would have gone back into the Susquehanna.
And this is exactly what happened, ladies and gentlemen, out in western Pennsylvania with the Monongahela and the Allegheny rivers. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have a Gas Drilling Awareness Coalition out there. And it wasn't stopped until, in fact, they determined that they couldn't remove all of the chemicals from the water that was getting into the river.
Right.
You can't clean it to drinking water standards.
Right. And that was Dr. Conrad Volz from the Pittsburgh Public Health.
I remember him so well. Please stay tuned to this very important segment of You Be the Judge, where we're going to be talking a little bit more about Gasland and how it can impact our health, with Mary Rodriguez, who hasn't told us yet that she's a registered nurse well on her way to getting a master's degree in nursing, and Scott Cannon, somebody who's been filming and documenting the comings and goings of gas wells since they arrived here in northeastern Pennsylvania. So please stay tuned to You Be the Judge. Welcome back to You Be the Judge. My guests are Mary Rodriguez and Scott Cannon from the Gas Drilling Awareness Coalition in Luzerne County. And Gasland, too, talked about some of the things that happened to your members. You were placed on the terrorist watch list.
Yes, we were.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well,
Which you wear as a red badge of courage.
every time I take a plane trip, I'm worried that I'm going to get thrown off because of that. But during Governor Ed Rendell's administration, he had his staff had hired a company to keep an eye on things, and our Gas Drilling Awareness Coalition meetings ended up on these special bulletins, terrorist bulletins that we were possibly a threat to national security for having a meeting in a church about gas drilling.
About learning about the health hazards of gas drilling.
Yes, our group is an educational group, and we research subjects and we talk to people about the adverse effects of gas drilling.
And I was amazed at how tough Josh Fox was on the Rendell administration. And I shouldn't say I was amazed, because I've said to a number of people, this isn't a Democrat or Republican issue. This is a haves and have-nots issue. It really is.
It is.
If you're a large landowner or you own a motel or a hotel complex or a car dealership, you are more likely to be 1,000% in favor of gas drilling than someone who lives on 5 acres of land and has chosen not to lease their property, or maybe has leased their property. But after Rendell left office and the new governor coming in has taken it to a whole new level.
Yes.
Well, that's when I switched from a Republican to a Democrat, when that happened. When he said that he wasn't going to tax the gas industry, and I heard the denials about the damage that was being done. I've been out in the field and I see it for myself. These people that are making decisions, Governor Corbett's never been to Dimock. They really don't know what it's like. And to see them do that, I said I couldn't be a part of this. I needed to do something else, and I did switch parties because
But
of that.
this is a basic constitutional rights of people, and people who you work all your lives, whether your home is small or whether your home is big. You work all your lives for your home. It's your space, and you have someone from across the way, from next door, whatever. They make their decision about their lives, but their decision impacts on your space and your life. It's just like someone who has a party across the street. If they're having a party that's too loud, they're impacting. There's ordinances against that. There's ordinances if they happen to consume alcohol and they come over and crash into your car. Again, there's ordinances against this. What happened to the rights of the normal citizen of the United States to their own property, to their own space? Why do you get to impose on me? And that's one of the zoning problems that's going on now. We have no rights.
You know, Marianne, that's Act 13 did a terrible job in doing away with most of that. But Scott, you're somebody that spends a lot of time on the other side of the camera. Mm-hmm. And when you look into the eyes, either through a camera lens or across a kitchen table, at people that have been adversely affected, you see the same look. I call it the faces of fracking. Yeah. They're defeated.
Yeah.
They're angry. They don't have anywhere to turn. Initially, I can remember being up with so many of the people in Dimock that just hailed the fact the EPA was coming. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're going to teach the state the EPA was coming. Mm-hmm. I was at their first meeting up in Bradford County, and they came in and they were going to do this, that, and the other thing. And all of a sudden, one sentence in a State of the Union by Barack Obama, and we
Everything.
lose the functionality of the EPA when it comes to who do you
Yes.
depend on.
I see it almost as crimes against these people. They speak out, they get no help from their legislators. They ask for help, they don't get it. The leasers who are not getting the royalties are getting the help, but the people who are getting their water contaminated are being turned away, they're being called liars. 10 years ago, when they were thinking about putting all this fracking fluid into the ground, it sounded crazy. 10 years later, we have evidence that there are problems, and there are very serious issues with methane migration. To be still doing this after knowing that there are problems is just crazy.
It is, and you know, there is so much natural gas, 5,000 feet below the surface.
It's not going anywhere.
It can be, we can be energy independent and still good neighbors by staying away from people's homes. The Duke study was at 3,000 feet. You're
Right.
17% or 17 times more likely to have your water. So I mean, why do they? And Tony Ingraffi said this to me, and it was really frightening. He said, "Todd, do you know why they put impoundment ponds next to grade schools?" I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because they can. Because they want to move into a community and immediately, like a wild animal, mark their territory, like a lion that is in the jungle.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they've told everybody in that community,
They're there.
this is our impoundment. We can put it where we want to, and you can't stop it. And by the way, it's not going to hurt your kids. Their kids wouldn't go to a school with an impoundment pond next to it, but our kids can. And we've seen it. I mean, Scott, I know, Mary, you have too. You've been up to Wyalusing.
Yeah,
They're putting a well right behind that silica.
That's silica next to that daycare center.
Outrageous.
Silicosis. I mean, critical care nursing. That's going to damage their lungs, and there's no way back from that.
I went up
There's
there
nothing. There's no way
to
back.
do a video on it, and you see there's a train yard right behind a daycare center, and there's piles of this silica dust just blowing in the wind, 55 feet from the fence of the
Go
playground.
across the street, as I did, and go into the Dunkin' Donuts and ask the ladies who work in the Dunkin' Donuts what it's like on a windy day. And they will tell you that we can taste it in our mouths inside here. I mean, these people are going to have silicosis. There's no question about
These
it.
babies,
Yeah.
these infants, these toddlers, they're walking around a chain link fence like that's going to be some protection for them.
Yeah, it really is. It's
horrible.
outrageous. And again, that's the winners and the losers. The other problem that I see for us is just the vast amount of truck traffic on the roads, the impact that's having on. I represent the family of a 20-year-old woman or 22-year-old woman whose 2-year-old daughter saw her die in her car, run into by a gas driller's truck at 8 o'clock in the morning. He was on a 12-hour shift, just coming off. These kids are tired. And they've made our roads almost impassable. Again, but you go back and talk to any of the hospitality people up in Bradford County,
They're happy.
they love them because bringing people in from out of state, staying in motels and hotels.
That's the good part. The bad part is it's the industrialization of our agricultural and residential areas. If I wanted to move into an industrial park, they wouldn't let me because of safety reasons. But yet they can build an industrial park in my backyard for corporate profit.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about Josh's movie and your role in it. I mean, he spent a lot of time talking about the GDAC. You've had Jax up to speak to your group, am I right? Talk a little bit about give me an idea as to what you thought of the movie.
Well, being involved with this for so many years, I can't say that there was a lot of new stuff that I didn't know. What I did feel was that people that I met through being active, I was shocked when their true emotions came out, like Calvin Tillman, John Fenton. Those are gentlemen that have been fighting this for 13, 17 years, and it really affected me to see them so affected, to see them, so, as you said, defeated. I mean, it was supposed to be a great thing, you know, they could just move out, but these people had to leave their homes, that they left, and it's just hard to see men, so defeated. It really is.
When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the people that we met and that we've met along the way. Wilma Zubrod, Tony Graffia, the courage of these people, and the fact that they are voices crying in the wilderness. They really, really
They
are.
are.
Yeah.
So please stay tuned to You Be the Judge.
Do you believe in clean water, fresh air, safe roads, and the natural beauty of our region? Learn about the unwanted effects of gas drilling. Visit gdacoalition.org.
Welcome back to You Be the Judge. My guests are here to talk about Josh Fox's movie, Gasland 2. And we were talking a little while ago during the break about Wilma Zubrod, who was on this show. We brought up here to talk about the chemical problems related to gas drilling. Wilma has fought the good fight for as long as she possibly can. Am I right? How old Wilma's?
I think she said she was 74.
Wow.
I'm not sure. And she's been doing it for over 30-some years. And she's a scientist, but she started being a healthcare worker, and she went out and was doing surveys on people that were affected by whatever industrial accident was around. But now she's been doing handling people that are affected by the Gulf spill in Louisiana, and that's, people somehow think it's over. It's not over. It's still continuing. And now she's doing the brine caverns that have been filled with the gas that have collapsed. And Scott, you said the new incident.
Yesterday, there in the Gulf of Mexico, there was a abandoned gas well that they were trying to plug up, and they lost control of it. So now I don't know if they've actually capped that yet, but that's spilling gas into the Gulf.
This week I was at a Pennsylvania Bar Institute program on hot topics in gas exploration. And it was overwhelming and it was frightening, the amount of regulation and legislation that's being pushed forward
Right
by
now.
the gas industry with nobody watching. I mean, they got a pooling bill in the budget, okay? That although it's not forced pooling, it allows for pooling. And ladies and gentlemen, pooling, why don't you explain what pooling is, Scott?
Well, if you have, I think you're talking about the Pennsylvania
That's right.
law that just passed.
Pooling for leases.
Basically, what they're doing is they're taking all the people who have old gas leases from back 50 years ago. What they're doing is pulling all those lands together and saying, all right, you can't negotiate a new lease. We're going to use your land. We're going to put all the groups together. Pooling is grouping. They say that it's going to stop some of the impacts, the having less wells, but basically it's taking away the rights of people to negotiate a new lease, to get more money from the gas industry.
And legislators have no idea what they're voting on when they
Nope.
get a budget put in front of them and one of these things get in. Well,
They slide it in.
Act 13. Your husband has been very active in
Yes.
trying to stop that portion of Act 13 that prevents doctors from talking about conditions that exist in their community.
Well, a lot of doctors have been involved, but I think he was the one that basically came to the end of his rope with it. He was treating someone, and he was trying to find out what they were exposed to on the job. So usually you can call the center, the poison center, poison control. And if you call poison control about anything, they tell you what's in the what the ingredients are of any formula. So he called them. Well, they didn't know. He tried to call the gas companies. Oh, they didn't know. They couldn't give out the information. And I won't say what hospital system it was, he ran into a number of brick walls. Couldn't get tissues biopsied, couldn't get lab work done, their passwords on getting into this person's file, many, and he decided, okay, I cannot treat him in this hospital, I can't get information, I have to sign a confidentiality agreement for it, and he came home and he just said, okay, and we have to be done waiting. We have to find somebody to represent us and we have to file. It has to be done. My patient, I can't treat my patient. I certainly, not only the confidentiality thing, he just couldn't treat his patient. And then he wasn't supposed to talk to anybody about it. It's an impossible situation for a physician.
We mentioned before the show started Peter Roy's great book, and I'd recommend it to anybody, Dirty Fracking Business. But it's the story of a farmer whose son becomes deathly ill. And he goes to the emergency room, and nobody can tell them what's wrong with him. And when he's complaining that he believes it's related to the gas drilling right behind their farm, they don't want to talk to him. And he does a little investigation, and he finds out the hospital's gotten several $1 million in grant money from the industry. We see that in every community you're in, whether it's Towanda Memorial, whether it's Geisinger, whether it's Moses Taylor CM. They're buying medicine in the same way they're buying influence with.
It's public relations.
It's more than that.
Big checks that they give out to the community, and they get their pictures in the paper. It makes them seem like they're good neighbors.
But it's more than that.
It's more.
It's because public relations is built on trying to do something good for the community. They're looking to do something good for themselves.
Absolutely.
And that's all it's about, and it's frightening.
But they're interfering with the patient-physician relationship. That's a close bond. That's that's a responsibility. That's something that physicians, the Hippocratic Oath, that's what they pledge.
That's right.
To become a physician, they're interfering with that. That they shouldn't be allowed to interfere with that. That's.
And we haven't seen much of that from Gasland 1 or Gasland 2. I've been told, you told me that Gasland 3 is in the works.
Gasland 3 is in the works.
And hopefully Josh Fox will start to look at that more closely, because I think it's another threat to our health. When we come back for the last couple of minutes, I want to talk to both of you about where you see your organization, Gas Drilling Awareness Coalition, going, and what we in northeastern Pennsylvania can do, how we can help ourselves. So please stay tuned. To you, be the judge. Welcome back. Our last segment, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Luzerne County now. What are the projects that we have to worry about in the future?
Well, we have a lot of pipelines coming into the area. UGI is going to try to build a gate station.
What's a gate station?
Francis Slocum. There's a metering station and a gate station. The gas goes through, and then they divert it to different local areas. Take it from the big pipe and divert it locally. There's a group of folks fighting that right now. They had a compressor station that was going to go there. They fought it. Luzerne County said it's not zoned for that. You're not going to have it. But what they're trying to do is make it a public utility, and so they have eminent domain. That's going through the PUC right now. There is a pipeline project going up in Slocum and Dorrance Township in the mountaintop area, basically gas storage. Pipelines are going to come in up there. There may be a processing facility at some point. They're not really saying that, but that's a good possibility.
Leidy line.
And they're going to be expanding a station in Bear Creek, and they're working on more gas pipeline infrastructure for our county.
And let's not forget a case that I'm intimately involved in, the Chapin Dehydration Station. These people that live in the vicinity of that station had no idea what they were in store for.
It was a facility that should not have been built. Where it was built, there were too many homes nearby.
Sure.
There have been 3 good accidents so far. Well, they're not good accidents, but good size accidents in the very short, maybe 9-10 months the station's been.
I was up there
built.
visiting people yesterday, and people are complaining about their eyes running, burning. They still have vibrations at certain times of the day or night. Pictures on the wall start to shake. They've been awakened out of their bed by explosions and the sound of what's described as 10 747s landing all at the same time. And they were never told anything like this could happen.
Well, the unfortunate thing is when they went before the zoning of, was Monroe Township or Northmoreland?
It's Monroe Township.
Monroe Township. When they went through the zoning, we went to the meeting just to see what, they slid it through in one meeting.
Sure.
Well, because Act 13 was about to go into effect a month later, so they said, well, Act 13 is going to be in effect, so we might as well just approve it, because if we don't, we're going to have to approve it anyway.
But
and it never did go in effect.
But they were also told that there were only going to be a couple little buildings and it'd be inconspicuous,
Sure.
and it wouldn't be a problem.
Yes.
No.
And that's not what happened.
They just-
Everything the gas industry seems to promise, they come up short delivering. When they say it's safe, what's the definition of safe? They don't have one. Safe, responsible gas drilling?
don't
Nobody's
know if you're
defined
right.
it. Nobody's ever defined that.
When I talked before about looking at the faces of fracking and seeing that look, I also would be remiss if I didn't say each and every person you talk to for any length of time said they lied, they lied, they lied, they lied.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate, but it's a fact of life. I hope you guys will be on again. I want to congratulate you for the great work that you do on behalf of the
Thank you.
public. People don't realize it. You're volunteers. And of all, ladies and gentlemen, of all of the activist groups out there, I think the GDAC has the most common sense approach and provides the best information. So you're on the web?
Yes.
GDAcoalition.org.
Okay. GDAcoalition.org. Look them up. Send them some money. And
You can donate.
become involved. So thank you for sharing your morning with us on You Be the Judge.